We started off in Southeast Asia with the SGS, the Smite Global Series, moved over to Europe, and saw SK Gaming. We saw SK Gaming take on Team Dignitas a little bit later. I'm all over the place right now. Team Dignitas, however, is on top. And that I know for a fact. SK Gaming has stumbled throughout the year. SK Gaming versus Dignitas, who we saw earlier today. We just watched NRG versus Obey, and NRG take that one. We'll see if NRG can take it against SK Gaming this time around.
SK Gaming struggled a little bit earlier today, but it's going to be another fresh start for them potentially here. And I personally don't have SK badge at home. I have the Team Rival one at home, but I'm sure that there are some fans out there looking for that badge.
Yeah, don't forget, this is nice and easy. You're going to get a bunch of FP just for purchasing this. And then whoever you have equipped, you're going to get 40 FP every time they win, if you selected them to win or not. So this is a nice one. You can purchase the badge for every single team on the screen in the Pro League and rep your favorites.
Yeah, Rival. Go Rival. Woo!
Thanks, Anatoly. Coming up next is going to be NRG versus SK Gaming. SK has had some struggles in the past, but right now, going right into NRG. This one should be interesting, because I mentioned it while I was casting the Dignitas and SK Gaming match, that Dignitas was likely the upper card, likely going to win, and win they did, 2-0. But SK Gaming had a lot to learn, and this is a roster that I think has a lot of potential.
Sure.
And watching them play against Dignitas, if I'm coach, I mentioned you, I said, if I'm Coach Tolley, I'm going to come in here and say, now, play for the win, but you're probably not going to get it. But take all the notes possible, because Team Dignitas is one of the best in the world, and I think of it like a pen test coming from the world of info security. You say, all right, hackers, go ahead. And then you see where your holes are, and you fill them. As a team like SK going up against Team Dignitas, that's what I say to Dig. I say, do it. And then wherever we fall short, you can fix that later on, because NRG is going to be just as strong as an opponent.
I definitely expect SK Gaming to make a bigger statement here than they did against Dignitas. They fell behind really early in game number 1 when Arco found that first blood, but I don't expect them to stagger around that jungle side any longer. Still prioritizing some of these soft bans. Janus still going to be heavily prioritized. NRG not allowing Lawbster any sort of freedom.
Sure, this is definitely one of Lawbster's prime picks, but NRG certainly, we just watched Yammyn basically control an entire game with the Janus selection, so he's fantastic on that choice. SK will go for the Sobek. Not sure if that's going to be in the hands of the solo laner or not. And then next up, SK Gaming going to go with the Jing, the early hunter pick for Funballer.
It's not his style to be a little bit passive in the laning phase. He likes his Ulers, he likes his Honors, he likes to go in and jump into the action. Jing can do so with a little bit of a lead, but not to be the one to force the issue. Going to be one to play more reactionary than anything else. But anything but reactionary is this aggressive Camazotz pick from NRG.
Now, this character has had a lot of success here in Season 5, sometimes finding his way into the solo lane, into the jungle, what have you. With Terra selected, I do expect Terra to be over there in the solo lane and leaving Camazotz to the jungle.
Are we going to see Zaylia, or are we going to see another Zaylia-like performance here with NRG? I don't think maniaKK is the one to kind of bow down and play the Terra in the solo lane. Now, he does like his Guardians every now and then. He'll play the Cerberus, he'll play the Sobek. Terra's solo lane, though, I'm not really too sure if that's going to be a style. He played a last set against Obey Alliance, did a great job with the Camazotz. I think this is going to be EmilZy's god on the Terra.
We'll certainly take a look. Round 2 of bans coming out. Soul and Artio just banned out by SK and NRG, respectively. Last bans for the contest coming out. And it'll be Kakulin from SK. And NRG are going to go the way of Habwa. Nice pick there, as SK have already their Nemesis, Jing, and Sobek selected. Their 4th will be Agni.
It makes sense to ban out the Habwa, considering Nemesis gets kind of hard countered by that pick. The water carpet is going to make it easier to get away. But picking the Agni, even though they had a choice of next pick, NRG didn't want to deal with that river.
Bellona. Always an interesting choice here. NRG going to leverage this one, along with the Nuwa, a character that has been very interesting as of late. So, Nuwa, Janus, I mean, made solo?
Yeah,
what are we looking at?
Nuwa and the Janus. That is actually really... This is a Nuwa hunter. Yes. Nuwa's going in the dueling. If I were to guess.
I'm not going to leave just yet, but Athena will be the final selection for SK Gaming, likely putting Sobek in the solo lane, but we'll keep an eye on that one. NRG, your guess is as good as mine. Toli thinks Nua's going in the long lane. Casters, what about you?
Tom, I mean, I gotta be, I guess. Nua going to that long lane. Aggro, what do you think? Thanks again on the desk, Finch and Aggro here.
I guess. I mean, maybe Janus ADC, but you lose a little bit of value out of the global ultimate when you're going that far away from the duo lane. I don't know. Is it going to be, you know, your best possible option here for NRG? Maybe not. But as Tom was saying with SK versus Dignitas, you know, it's one of those tough matchups. You can try and experiment on some things, learn what you can, and then apply it later on. It's similar but kind of opposite here for NRG. SK has struggled so far. This is kind of your opportunity to try new things, see how it works out.
Yeah.
Maybe so you find something that you really like. Maybe it's an idea that you worked on in scrims a little bit, wanted to try it for real, doesn't work out. Cool, we feel confident enough that we can actually find the 2-0 anyways.
Well, we want to know who you all think is going to win this one, Mixer Chat. Please make sure that you vote so we can get your opinions on that one. But as you said, this is sort of an opportunity where maybe NRG can learn a little bit with this roster. Certainly not going up against any slouches with this SK roster. I mean, these are players who've been around the scene forever. Funballer, Lawbster, I mean, Badgah, we know, took a break for a while, but also an old name as well. So even though it's a team that's not doing as well, you certainly are still playing against high-level competition here, and we do see that it is going to be emilitoo taking Nua over to the duo lane.
Interesting. Man, NRG must really feel like Nua, I mean, you could tell by their picks and bans that they really feel like Nua is one of the best mages in the game right now, but to be willing to force her into the ADC role is something that I didn't really expect, and I'm sure SK probably didn't either. But I mean, the only real concern that I have with this is that you're worried about your late game siege potential, but Nua's late game siege is excellent because she can provide those clay golems to work as a minion to tank up that tower and make sure that your team isn't going to be taking any damage when they're trying to siege. Now, in terms of outright just damage onto those objectives, it's not going to be very good, but in this situation, you know, it's better than some other traditional mages would be.
And we are going to be seeing her paired with that Terra for EmilZy after they selected Bellona to go along with this draft. We've been seeing a lot of Terra in the solo lane here lately, trying to make sure you mostly get the benefit of that, of the ultimate. As you said, her pillar can be used as well to block the waves, and some of that synergizers better with the solo lane, but with Bellona on the squad, this time EmilZy going to be trying to help lane with this new WA pick with that Terra.
And this is why stopping that wave is so important. Check out where the wave is right now for SK. I mean, it's all the way up on this tower line, and so they've got nothing to do, so they'll just head towards the purple buff, but EmilZy's just not going to let them do that purple buff. This frees emilitoo up to start in mid, invade that red buff, and now look at where Emil's coming from, having missed none of this wave. Now he could probably even do this purple before anyone from SK is going to be able to come over. This is going to ding Emil level 2 and give him a pretty significant lead. I'm not sure how much experience Funball has even gotten so far. What, a couple melee minions basically at this point? It's insane how much of a XP lead Emil should have now.
And it's not just going to be Emil. I mean, Yammyn was able to go with him to the red buff, came down and got those mid harpies. Now coming over to the mid lane and really not missing very much himself either. And going to be able to come over and defend his own red buff. So yes, SK were able to push the lane up and take away that purple buff, but all the rest of the buff control over here on this duo side of the map, even including camps, has gone to NRG.
Well, just think about it. I mean, Funball has gotten one wave, you know, 1.5 waves on the left-hand side and a purple buff, but all of that was split. Whereas in the mid lane, Emil got one wave there, shared red buffs, soloed down purple, and got basically 2 full waves, if not a wave and 3/4 on this left-hand side. He's just had more farm come his way.
We did just see the polls come up. Seems like pretty overwhelmingly chat believing in those one-time world champions of NRG Esports who...
No, they're the 2-time.
They were at one time.
The 2-time.
The 2-time world champion.
Correct.
Thank you, Aggro.
You're welcome.
Making sure that, you know, we put a little bit of respect on that NRG name.
Sorry.
Of course, there have been some changes to this roster now. It is going to be EmilZy in that support role with them and maniaKK in the solo lane. And once upon a time, the roster was a little bit different from here, but that core adapting Yammyn and emilitoo certainly still very strong.
It's kind of the new energy is NRG and some members of Obey fused together. You know what I mean? And after how well Obey played in Season 4, can't really blame NRG for being willing and wanting to pick up some of these members just to switch it up. Sometimes, when you play together for a long time, we saw it with Lawbster, Funball, and Trickstank. Hold that thought. Badgah's in a ton of trouble here because he got his dash blocked out. ML looking for the root passive on this new wall, but not going to find it in time. Just not enough damage to kill. Though, to be fair, not sure that a traditional hunter would have in that situation either. Going back to what I was about to say, though, NRG is one of those. It was in one of those situations where when you team together with the same people for a long, long time, you see success, you see failure, you see it all. But sometimes you just need a change of scenery in order to re-energize yourself. And you know, on each side, it's not like it's only positive for the team that's getting rid of a member and then bringing someone else in. It's also oftentimes positive for the other side as well to leave that situation and find a new one for themselves as well. So I don't think it's one of those things where we can look back on the old NRG squad and be like, darn, you know, it's a real shame they went their separate ways. I think it was time for a little bit of a change of pace for NRG, whether it was, you know, in the support role or in the solo lane or whatever it may be. I really feel like it's re-energized adapting. It's re-energized a lot of this NRG roster, and I'm excited to see what they can do in this year.
Yeah, and talking about those changes, I mean, there was some concern, you know, maybe not so big, maybe small, but that the identity of this NRG roster has very much been, you know, their swagger, their gravitas. This is a very kind of in-your-face roster, and would emilZy be able to synergize with that part of this team? Well, so far here in this season, it hasn't seemed like it's really been a problem for him. He is bringing a very fresh type of personality over here to this team, even outside the game for what they were used to when you got someone like Rapper, you know, who's very much his own guy.
Exactly. So it's kind of an identity shift for them in-game and out of game, but like I mentioned, sometimes that's just what you have to go for in order to keep fresh, especially when you're looking at, you know, all these amazing teams that have been formed. Rival has come up through the ranks, and it's clear that Rival has played really well against your old identity. Maybe time to switch it up a little bit and go for something a little bit newer, and that's what NRG's done.
Taking a look already at how far ahead Yammyn is. He was the first one in the game, I believe, to tick over to level 6, or even getting that chart showing you a bit of why. 49 minion kills there to his name. He's the one that's been farming so efficiently on this map so far as this Janus, and that's what Janus can do on this map. He can just kind of get further ahead of you because of how fast he's able to move across the map.
Exactly. We see Janus get a pretty significant experience lead pretty often, but not always are they able to actually turn that into a lead for the rest of the team. But Yammyn was able to do it last game very, very well.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of play I want to see. Playing aggressive now that he's finished off his pen boots.
Well, look, lurking in the jungle here is SK Gaming. They've got Lawbster and Faeles both here. Took about half his health from that unstable vortex, did he? But now they got the Defender of Olympus channeling on top of this as well, as Badgah wants to come join the party. Taunt to separate Yammyn away from the rest of the fight that's breaking out towards mid. He's able to get away, but emilZy is able to get the last hit to find Lawbster. First kill the game, going the way of NRG Esports. Still looking for more. Is the rest of SK Gaming adapting? Come low here in mid lane, able to retreat back towards that tier 1 tower. Finds the 2-man stun, does emilZy here on this Terra with the portal, gets a little bit more damage onto Faeles, and Yammyn finally ends up finding and blowing him up in the mid lane. 2 kills go the way of NRG.
Man, emilZy played that fight so well.
Yeah,
his shell absolutely critical to make sure that adapting didn't fall even before Lawbster did. That 2-man stun right there setting up for Yammyn's portal to finish off the second blood, and it was emilZy's auto attacks that actually confirmed the kill onto Lawbster as well. Really, really nice rotation, and that's where that ability to use Terra's blessing, even though Badgah ends up getting there first because of the true global ultimate that actually brings him to the team fight, emilZy can affect it before he even gets there, and then once he does get there, make it that much better for his squad.
And it's, you know, it's interesting too, because we were just talking about how Yammyn had been farming so well, was the most farmed up on the map, and then it was SK who sort of took the fight to the mid lane a little bit. They were lurking around those mid harpies and ended up getting wrapped around on by the rest of NRG Esports, but that was right where the lead of NRG was, and as you said, with that little bit of pressure from emilZy able to come join him on that Terra, they're able to win that fight.
It just felt to me like SK knew they were trapped. It was adapting on the top side, putting out some damage. Yammyn was ready to come in with the through space in time, and SK knew they were in trouble right away. So Lawbster dashes away and calls for the Athena ultimate from Badgah to make sure that he has a little bit of extra support. But having an extra member there against a Camazotz ult doesn't really do anything for you, especially when Badgah has gone for the sprint as his relic instead of the shell that emilZy has gone for. Sprint excellent against almost everything in the game, and including against Camazotz ult, can let you outrange it if you're farther away, give you extra juke opportunities, but let's be frank, adapting is just not going to miss in situations like that.
emilZy gets pulled in, but is on the Terra, perfectly peeled away with that portal. Yammyn did a good job making sure there wasn't going to be any more follow-up there from Faeles on that Nemesis. They commit the ultimate on top of emilZy there too. They really did want that pick. Instead, they only bring him down to about half health, and Terra does have some sustain on that monolith. It doesn't always come too big into as a factor here, but that means emilZy not going to be too worried.
Well, not only did the portal stop any follow-up damage from Faeles right away, but it also zoned away Lawbster. The idea there from SK is to just CC chain emilZy to death before he can get any of those dashes off. Nem ult into bomb stun, into dash, you know, flame wave bombs, all that good stuff. Yammyn's portal zones away both damage dealers and makes sure that his support is safe and sound. Yammyn playing at a really high level right now.
emilZy might once again be the target from SK Gaming as they find him here in the jungle. They do get the control between Lawbster and Badgah, but emilZy is okay with it for now. Just going to walk back over to the mid lane. I did want to talk to you a little bit here, Ryan. The pressure's continuing from emilitoo over here in the duo lane. We saw him aggressing into the purple buff just now, and being able to use those abilities to make the in-hand damage from Funballer not so much relevant. He's been able to get a lot more poke off onto him because he's just playing that mage over there.
Now, once Funball is able to finish off that Transcendence and, you know, start to get his items online, I'd like to see him really just go aggressive on emilitoo. As soon as he uses that Shining Metal, that stops his stun potential. That's really the only fear right now for Faeles. He's got to be in a lot of trouble right now. New ultimate comes down to keep him in combat, and Adapting going to be able to finish him off. Nice portal there again by Yammyn, though. Badgah's got the dash, and we'll be able to get away. Nice two-man stun, forces the beads out from Adapting, but still another good engagement there by NRG.
Yeah, once again, playing through Yammyn on this Janus pick to set up another fight. It was through space and time that got the whole rest of the team there to that engagement. They can turn that one around in their favor. And NRG Esports, Yammyn so far has been a big part of what's doing well for them. I don't mind them taking this Janus first overall if Yammyn's going to keep playing it like this.
No, absolutely. I mean, how could you argue with how well he's played so far in this one? And as I was saying, it's really going to be up to Funball to make sure that this new ADC pick gets punished, but it's going to get difficult now, Finch, because emilitoo's just finished off the Warlock staff. He's going to be getting healthier and healthier every time he clears a minion wave, just getting the extra HP, the extra power from each of those stacks as well. And Funball already sitting in a spot where it's going to be difficult for him to play aggressive because he's got to be worried if he dashes in about that Janus ultimate coming through in response.
Now, my question for you here, Ryan, is that the big thing that hunters do for you so well is around these objectives, on these towers, and how well they're able to shred those with their sustained damage. Is NRG going to be running into that wall later on in this game? Do they need a big lead, or is that just not even going to be a big problem for them?
That certainly could be an issue for them. As I mentioned earlier on, the new clay minions are kind of there too. Instead of doing the objective very quickly off of one minion wave, you're giving yourself a minion wave and a half to do the same job. That's why Nuwa could work in this situation, but you still got to be careful, and that could end up being a problem, yes, in the later stages.
Does land the slow here to emilZy. Lets emilitoo line up that Shining Metal to hit both of them in the dual lane. So again, the poke advantage going heavily in favor of NRG in the dual lane. Look at that range clear that emilitoo is able to get out. emilZy actually goes in a little bit further aggressive, trying to see if he can find a little bit more control into the boys of SK. Can't just yet, so they back up and sort of reset over there in the duo.
And Adapting got himself a pretty big lead on this right-hand side as well, so that means that SK has to really choose between trying to make sure that Adapting doesn't continue to get too big as Yammyn through space and time, try to pick off Funball. If he hits that through space and time, that puts Funball low enough that ML is going to ult to finish off that kill. That's important because he's only level 11. emilZy blocks the first part of that dash from Faeles. Faeles still under a little bit of pressure, but will get away. That's just it's the small things, man.
Yeah.
emilZy is just insane.
This could potentially be a huge problem, though, for Funballer. The entirety of NRG, it feels like, have come over to try and catch him out into Tier 1. Uses Airstrike to get away, and emilZy's the lone one that continues onto the chase and may have bit off more than he could chew. Shell keeps him alive for the moment, actually gets taunted back in, but now Lawbster's here to drop the bombs down. Does find it. Adapting returns the favor onto Badgah, so it's 1-for-1 support. So for support has been traded out. Now with Adapting chasing him down, Lawbster could be in trouble. He came over just to try and make sure they get the kill and almost pays for it. Able to get out with that dash, though, is Lawbster.
I'd like to see emilitoo be a little bit more patient with that Nuwa ultimate. I think it may have connected right before Badgah lands and that damage mitigation falls off. Funball survives with a sliver of HP. Not sure if it would have been enough damage as it was to finish off Funball on that Jing Wei without the damage mitigation, but either way, he uses it as soon as he does because he's worried about getting knocked up by Funball's persistent gust. But NRG just winning all across the map, basically.
Yeah.
emilZy going a little bit too deep there, but it still doesn't end up really mattering because of the cleanup kill by Adapting onto Badgah, trading out 1-for-1. It's just, everywhere is going pretty well for NRG at this point.
Yeah, it's a little scary how straight up those graphs are going. That is scary too, all the damage Adapting just put out bad out of hell. And the follow-up from Yammyn. At this point, he's got a direct lock on him with these through space and times. He finds his second kill.
Adapting is just trying to distract Lawbster in that situation. That's Lawbster, you know, looking one way to turn out of his driveway and never checking the other side of the road, and then just getting crushed by that through space and time because he was too distracted right there. Just don't know if they needed the damage in that situation, but may as well confirm that kill in the mid lane.
I like your analogy, Ryan, but I'm going to change it. I think that he did look both ways. It's just that there were 3 that he had to worry about that time. No one expects the through space and time from downtown to have to worry about. Lawbster did it as good as you can ask for him, and instead, Yammyn is just that little bit better. Now the tier 1 tower in the mid lane is the one that ends up getting brought to the ground as NRG Esports, that steady lead that they've been building up for themselves, culminates in this pressure now they have here in mid lane. Adapting, pressuring Faeles out, has a chance to rotate back over. The shield keeps him healthy. Doesn't find the unstable vortex though with that portal. The time is just a little bit off. NRG back up after claiming their prize. This
is scary because EmilZy is taking no damage right now. He got hit by a bomb in the mid lane by Lawbster, and it did no damage at all. Lawbster, not a lot of pen right now. He's gone for the cooldown boots and then in the Warlock staff to try and keep himself safe. But that means that he's really lacking on the actual burst damage early on. EmilZy's already finished off that Gauntlet of Thieves. Already got over 100 of each protection, and he's almost the same level as Lawbster. Lob just hit level 12. EmilZy has been level 11 for quite some time, so he should be there sooner rather than later, about halfway to level 12. This is the nightmare scenario right now because we've talked about it so much. Mid laners in the mid game are where they shine. So much of the meta is revolved around how well your mid and jungle are doing. Look at where the majority of this lead is for NRG, in the mid and jungle. 2 levels for each Yammyn and Adapting. And it's no surprise that NRG looks great to me. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that there's a assassin and mage heavy meta, specifically mid and jungle heavy meta, what better two than Yammyn and Adapting to try and win the game for you?
Now NRG have forced this fight around the Gold Fury. Through space and time, goes through this time. Not quite on the mark, goes up for those fire shards. It finds good damage onto everyone, does emilitoo. Good stun from Lawbster as well to try and slow down the aggression. Going to be able to successfully peel. So NRG choose to take that team fight, but SK Gaming able to make it out after using a couple of important relics, but now NRG can reset and start it all over again.
Portal there, maniaKK up front alongside emilZy. Ducky underneath the waters alongside Badgah, who's coming in, but Faeles already forced backwards. Yammyn takes a good chunk of damage from Ducky's rotation, as does Adapting from Lawbster's poke. But NRG still over half HP on all their members.
Yeah, they've been able to just start up this Gold Fury, force a fight, try and commit. When they don't have it, they come back cleanly to this Gold Fury. Look at the coordination from this NRG roster. It's been so strong from them throughout this fight. emilZy goes in. The taunt does come out from Badgah as well. Not going to be nearly enough. Finds the pluck, does Ducky, but instead just ends up sitting in place. There comes the Eagles rally, though, down on the 3 separate members. Ducky's low. He's going to be the first one to fall. Not too far behind him, though, is Badgah, as Adapting finds the bat out of hell. emilZy very low, and Funballer does eventually end up finding him as well, and now must use that airstrike more for escape than anything else. maniaKK's right here to try and chase him down. Ends up being a 2-for-1 overall in favor of NRG.
But make it maniaKK is going to be able to find it. Yeah, it goes underneath that tower right there. It doesn't have blink. I don't know how he killed him. Just lazy back, I guess, from Funball. ML's going to die, though, in response, so it actually ends up working out that he had that Funball lazy backed. It was the back bait, actually. It actually supersedes the lazy back in that situation.
Yeah, he got them to overcommit in that situation. Perfectly calculated, obviously.
Yes.
But what that ends up meaning is, as you said, ends up being a 3-for-3 overall. That was the kind of fight that SK really needed. And taking a look at the grass, it didn't impact them in so far as getting their lead back, but it slows NRG down. Instead of a Gold Fury where they win a fight, it's an even fight that they take across the board, essentially, and that slows down NRG's progression.
That's true, but man, those net worth charts are scary right now. It's always a bad sign for one side if you are below all 5 members of the opposition. Yeah. I mean, 5 NRG members, then a small break, then Funball on this Jing way. Now, if there's a god that can try and take a lead, or not even a lead, but you know, take a situation like this and have a chance to really make the big plays, it could be Jing Wei. I would really like to see Funball just kind of throw caution to the wind and try and itemize into some crit maybe to try and really burst one of these fights into SK's favor. Problem with that is, though, that maniaKK's already got the Thorns. That's probably going to be a high to the Nemean Lion. So if Funball does go for crit, maniaKK just gets to, you know, do an evil laugh, maniacally laugh, rub his hands together, and then know that he's going to ruin Funball's team fight for the rest of the game. So probably safer if that isn't a crit build for Funball, but it's going to be tough to bring down the slippery Yammyn and even emilitoo without it.
And I like this. We got to just see there what this Fire Shark's ultimate really can do for the team. They were pulling the Pyromancer, and then just to make sure, you know, where is everybody on SK Gaming? Can we go afford to fully commit onto this one? And they could. They could see where they were. The through space and time from Yammyn helped them out as well. Pyromancer now going the way of NRG means they don't have those two big mage ultimates here of SK Gaming. Do want to try and force a fight, but NRG are so far ahead. I think they'll be okay either way.
Now, 2 ultimates being down, though, and Yammyn very low on mana. I like this pull from SK, down to about 50%. On the Gold Fury, emilZy going to be the first one in, trying to stun someone, but gets taunted in by Badgah. Gold Fury gets reset while maniaKK finds a 2-man stun in the back.
Goes right in, does maniaKK, continues to look for the rest of the fight. Yammyn's been pulled to the right side of this with that unstable vortex, trying to fight it out, but emilitoo is the one that finds Lawbster, able to get away as Yammyn had Faeles chasing him out. Now Faeles has a chance to wrap around the back end of this one and try and start something up, but Badgah has fallen on the front line. Adapting gets that. 2 members have fallen, and through space and time is back and available one more time. Comes to the fight. Faeles has eventually find a return onto Yammyn, who was very low in the back, if you recall, but now Ducky falls as well. 3 members have dropped for SK Gaming. NRG only giving up Yammyn, could turn back towards the Gold Fury.
NRG is just playing so well against Badgah's Athena right now. How many times is Badgah been able to find a double taunt? Like once or twice. Funball on the run against Adapting. Nice knock up there, no agility, and that bat will confirm it. emilZy's just forcing Badgah to taunt him, and only him. The NRG waits until emilZy face plants into SK, gets the taunt in, and then all of NRG goes right over the top and destroys SK's backline. Not a ton of peel here if Ducky's not trying to save Lawbster in that situation. Lawbster, he has to use both relics and still dies before anyone else on SK even gets low. That tells me that either Lawbster's positioning was way off, or SK didn't do a good enough job trying to peel it away. Either way, that's got to be remedied in these future team fights, but it's going to be difficult, man, because the peel aspect, trying to get a Camazotz away from you, a Bellona away from you, can't peel fire shards for you. I mean, there's a lot that NRG is going to be able to do that SK can't really respond to.
NRG Esports then were able to claim that Gold Fury and push their lead up even further, about a 7,000 gold lead now they have to their names. Actually even worse at 8,000. That experience mark is scary too. And you were talking about the difference between these two supports. It's a bit of an itemization crisis for Badgah that he has to run into as well. Because he was behind, couldn't go into that Gauntlet of Thieves. It can be slow to start up. And went with the Sovereignty, but against the double mage composition of NRG Esports, he kind of melts when Yammyn and emilitoo are the 2 ones that are putting pressure onto him. Only really adapting in maniaKK that he held help from Sovereignty, and only just finish off that Pestilence. So being behind has hurt Badgah here too.
I don't know how much I love the Pestilence in this slot. I really feel like SK needed a Heartward Amulet pretty desperately at this slot. I mean, I get it. You want to anti-heal away the Terra healing, the Camazotz healing, even some of that Bellona healing on the Scourge, but I really feel like Heartward Amulet was a must-buy in this situation for SK. Now Badgah could go into it, but by the time he finishes off his 4th item, who knows what this lead is going to look like for NRG at that point. At this rate, the game could be over by then.
NRG Esports grouping around this tier 2 tower on the dual lane side. There is a response though from SK. They've got Badgah, Faeles, and Funballer all here to try and slow them down, but it's on 2 fronts that they must try and fight this. Really 3 if you count maniaKK, as Yammyn and emilZy are pushing in mid lane, and Lawbster's all alone and very low. Has to commit the bombs there just to clear the wave. And they're continuing to push. Now maniaKK's over here through space and time. Was looking for Lawbster, couldn't find him, so he's okay. Yammyn finally misses one.
I love that play though. So many players would do exactly what Funballer or Lawbster did, which is go right around the corner, start to back right there, stick it. There's a big taunt from Badgah, finds 3, pulls a couple underneath the tower. But again, maniaKK and emilZy are 2 of those targets. Fire Shards does some good damage, spreads it out. maniaKK plucked back in, taking plenty of damage from that tower, but still survives. Unbelievable.
Well, Lawbster was forced out earlier in that fight, so you're right, they hit the big 3-man taunt, but who is supposed to follow that one up for him without those Agni bombs? They just weren't there. NRG sustained through the team fight. Now they can take down this tier 2 tower in the mid lane, add a little more gold to the pockets of all 5 of their members, and start getting up around a 10,000 gold lead for themselves. Pyromancer not too far from respawning as well, and we do see a couple members of NRG hanging out around this side, so they do have a chance not to pick it up right this moment, but that Fire Giant Pyromancer is an area where they can go try and push this lead even further.
It's scary right now for SK because that's as good of a taunt you're going to get to start off the fight, but that's as good as energy's going to give you because, as I mentioned, Badgah, or excuse me, maniaKK and emilZy are two of the three who get taunted in. Yammyn has to use the purification beads. That's really, really good, but Faeles doesn't have an opportunity to maybe blink into the back line and try and insta-kill him because of it. He's still got the portal. He doesn't have the ultimate available. That was honestly the best option for SK, is to try and jump on top of Yammyn in that situation, but he does so much damage. It's going to be difficult to do it. This Nemesis pick so far for Faeles just hasn't really been an impact because of how aggressive NRG has been able to be. Now, as the game goes longer, SK can get some items. Maybe they can try and turn it around and be aggressive in those later game sieges, but they're a ways off from that still.
Yeah, we're at the point now where SK Gaming are going to have to try and play patiently and give up as little as they can, but a team like NRG is going to take everything they can off the map, starting with this Pyromancer, which emilitoo has started up for himself. Has those clay soldiers there to help him take that one down. They do end up securing it. Now they have a chance to turn their eyes towards the Fire Giant because emilZy has 3 members that he's keeping busy on the backside. Funballer's in base, does have his own pass to help him get back, and only Ducky really is here on this Fire Giant. They're not able to keep it, at least for now. Fire Giant comes up to try and help emilZy get away because now he's gone from zoning to the one being collapsed on through space and time, though. Gets the whole team into the back line trying to help out with this fight. emilZy has a chance to escape, and Ducky is the one who ends up falling. The rest of NRG now can continue to push into the backside to try and join maniaKK, who's kept them at bay. Adapting, looking for Lawbster, willing to die at the tier 2 tower for it. Bad out of hell is a way to put in some damage and be safe. emilitoo is, or rather, Lawbster's able to stay safe as Badgah falls in the back. emilitoo, though, does come in and finally clean him up. Now 2 kills are coming out for SK Gaming, though, as Adapting and emilitoo both fall.
But Faeles needs to be careful here. Nice blink gets out of range of that unstable vortex. Just a little bit too far forward there. NRG doesn't need to dive that tier 2 tower. As soon as emilZy gets out, you can retreat, go back towards the Fire Giant, and probably grab that objective up for yourself. Either way, NRG still end up on top of that team fight. And I love what emilZy has been doing this game. He has been really, really impactful. 2-2-9. That time, he's standing in the middle of 4 SK members, gets hit by the Nemesis ult, and still survives for a really, really long time. And then Yammyn finally ports his entire team in, clips a member on the way in, makes sure that he can put out his damage, and emilZy is able to escape via use of the portals. That's how you draw up Janus, man, alongside a frontliner. Let your frontliner go do whatever they want to do on the backside, get them into some trouble, then bring your team in to, turn the fight in your favor.
That is yet another fight that NRG were able to win. It does mean, though, that they couldn't take that Fire Giant for themselves, so that one still stands up on the map. NRG, though, at this point, kind of have, it feels like, all the time to work with since they're so far ahead. Gold Fury's back up as well if they want to take that one and add it to their pockets as well. Pushing up this mid lane tower right now, NRG waiting to find another chance to regroup, let everyone get back up together, and then force another fight for SK so that they can't farm up and catch back up, which is what they really want to do.
But there are still a couple items that NRG wants before they're willing to give up Gold Furies entirely. Yammyn still working on what's probably going to be a Spear of Desolation. I wonder what emilitoo is going to go for in that last item slot. Sometimes we see a late defensive option for some mid lane mages. For me, I'd love to see a Rod of Tahuti in this slot for emilitoo. Could also be a Chronos Pendant to make sure he's getting as many of those fire shards off as possible. New Rod passive is amazing with Nuwa ult, because how many times are you using Nuwa ult to finish off a fight, to finish off a low health target who just escaped? Now that threshold gets that much bigger because you're going to be hitting them below that 50%. You get the extra damage. It's really, really good. Oh my god.
Yep. Ducky was there. Ducky no longer is there. emilitoo was the one that gets credit for it, as Sobek sits out for the next 40 seconds and hopes his team can defend this Fire Giant. But from their positioning, I don't think they're even going to try to. I think they recognize that they cannot go into this fight 4v5. Instead, NRG going to be able to get this Fire Giant without any kind of contest. No gold free for them to steal. Not really any camps up in the jungle either. NRG get this one, and SK just have to give it up.
Man, tough for SK so far. They've got 7 kills, but they haven't really amounted to any objectives on the map. I mean, all 6 energy towers still standing. SK hasn't claimed a Gold Fury. They haven't claimed a Pyromancer. Certainly not a Fire Giant either. You definitely tell that, they're still working towards where they want to be as a unit. Still seem a little bit discombobulated in the middle of these team fights. The NRG looking like a well-oiled machine.
NRG are looking excellent here at this point of the match. Again, we're 27 minutes in this one. 27.5 minutes, really. They're up 16-7 and up all the golden experience that you really could want to be up in an SPL game at this point. So NRG can kind of do with this game what they want to. And it looks like what EmilZy wants to do is pick up that Relic Dagger. Not one we always see get picked up here, but so much you can certainly afford to do here on this Terra when y'all are out in front.
I love it. I think Relic Dagger probably heavily under-purchased and excellent with something like a Shell as well. And usually we see it for Blink initiation characters to try and get more initiations off, or, you know, even on some of the squishier characters. But Shell and Frenzy, this Frenzy pickup mitigates that problem that we were talking about earlier, where this team is going to have trouble sieging Phoenixes because they don't have as much objective damage. Upgraded Frenzy is going to give you that attack speed, that power, and also some penetration to really look towards those objectives, plus that 10% increased damage towards it includes the objectives. So that's going to be, I love this pickup, covering up the hole that they had drafted. Really, really smart.
Tier 2 tower. Going to look a little bit like paper up against this NRG roster as it falls to the ground. No problem taking that one out. SK Gaming have established themselves around this Phoenix and dual lane. They are ready for the defense. Lawbster over the wall with these Agni bombs can be strong.
Looking for it. Yammyn on that right-hand side, but he actually gets the better end of that poke for sure.
Yeah, the taunt comes out from Badgah as well, but no immediate follow-up ready for that one. Now they can begin to put their damage in on this Phoenix. Sprint comes out looking for their reinitiation as SK Gaming, but forced back because maniaKK in the back line has everyone busy. He used the Eagles rally to get away. Phoenix falls, and now he's safe as well. Fire Shard's enough to clean up Ducky from emilitoo, and they can start moving into the Titan room. No, they're going to back up. They want these Phoenixes here first, but that siege was perfect for NRG.
Ridiculous. Frenzy into through space and time into Fire Shards. Lets them get the Phoenix, and Funballer to use Aegis in his own fountain. He took 2 steps out, got smacked in the mouth with a through space and time, and then had Aegis to make sure he didn't even die from the Fire Shard. Just long-range damage. And with Yammyn, it feels like they're both lock-on abilities.
maniaKK's almost full health again. He was the one that almost died for NRG just now, right? As he died 4 members in the back line. Well, it'd be hard to tell if you just joined us now. Phoenix at half health as the siege begins once again from NRG Esports. This time, only 4 members of SK to try and survive. The taunt comes out from Badgah, but once again, no follow-up. Now the Eagles rally lands on top of him. The Athena falls to EmilZy. Phoenix falls in mid as well. NRG Esports turn their attention towards the last Phoenix still standing for SK Gaming. This siege has been so strong for them so far on the back of their tremendous lead.
This is where Nuwa Siege comes in real handy. Right side Phoenix now the focus. Yammyn doesn't have any relics, but does have that ultimate available. NRG could decide to go for the end here with Badgah still down for 15 seconds, but no waves, and those clay golems won't do a good enough job of tanking the full-on Titan in order to get them in the spot. Well, no way. No way! Oh my god, I thought he was about to hit Funball.
Yeah, that through space and time would have definitely blown him up back there. Breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief are the boys of SK Gaming. That one might not have been too impactful as far as the game goes here, but it would have certainly felt bad.
That is just NRG having fun. There's no way that they're going to be using those ultimates in the next, 60 seconds anyways. So emilitoo ults to give Yammyn vision to try and snipe someone so that they might be able to end the game off of it. That's just the boys having some fun.
Well, I was just about to say here, too, I mean, NRG was the most dominant roster in Smite ever that there's ever been for that period of time they were, and for good reason. Adapting Yammyn and emilitoo are putting it on display here. I said earlier, this SK Gaming roster, this is not a squad full of pushovers by any means. Ducky and Faeles is part of that Dignitas or one-time roster, and then Lawbster has been playing with Funballer forever, it feels like. These players are certainly high level, but NRG putting on a clinic here in this game.
I'll say, SK has really struggled towards the beginning of this year, and I really hope they can turn it around, because these are really storied players who have been around for a long time, but seem a little bit lost towards the beginning of Season 5, and they're going to have to really figure something out if they want to, sure, come back in this one. We can all roll our eyes collectively, and then talk about moving on to how they're going to do in Game 2.
Game 2 is going to be the focus for them. Is it going to be in picks and bans? Remember, this Janus was first selected by NRG after the Serket and Thoth were banned away by SK Gaming. Are they going to instead turn their attention towards this that Yammyn's looked good on all day? Remember, he looked great on this Janus in that set that they just got through playing up against Obey, so maybe that might be where they want to turn their attention to, maybe towards this new WA. It's been highly valued, maybe for good reason.
Yeah, and that's what's so hard about Season 5, is there feels like there are so many really, really, really strong picks right now, and that's fun. I think that's way more fun than having one god that's infinitely better than all the rest, and everyone else is a scrub in comparison. Dash taunt onto emilZy. The trap was laid by SK. It fails, gonna blow up Yammyn before he can do anything at all. What a start for SK.
Yeah, this is the best kind of fight they could have hoped for. It could potentially come at the cost of Ducky, who does tail whip away, but he gets immediately chased down by the Eagles rally. He's still standing, though, as maniaKK has gone in by himself, but not for too much longer. He and Adapting work together to send Ducky and Lawbster back into the fountain. Now they turn their attention back towards the minions. They want something to help tank before they start pushing into this Titan room. Phoenix on this duo side is about to respawn as well, so they'll get to bring that one down before they finally go for their last push.
Really nice play there from SK to make sure that Yammyn gets deleted. That certainly has been a problem for them, but still so far behind that it's hard to win after that even. Funballer has to use the beads just to get into his fountain. emilZy takes a fountain tick, I believe, there. But Adapting starts the siege on the Titan.
They are going to start this final push, and SK Gaming have shown us when they have Lawbster that they can make the defense happen, but this time they don't. NRG Esports take game one up against SK Gaming, and they do it in dominant fashion. Can they do the same thing in game two, or are SK Gaming going to be able to regroup?
I'll tell you what, they got to regroup in a lot of different ways.
Yes.
And how do you start to attack this NRG roster? Because obviously, Yammyn looks great on the Janus, and the Nuwa ADC ends up working out for emilitoo.
Yeah.
But for me, the separating factor was emilZy on that Terra. The early game, blocking off his own minions, making sure that emilitoo can get a slight lead in that duo lane. His early game's rotations were phenomenal. His positioning in the late game was great.
Yeah.
He was just lights out all game long. And that's before we talk about Adapting's Camazotz, before maniaKK's Bellona that was absolutely a nightmare in these team fights.
Yeah.
He was able to do whatever he wanted, never took any damage, it really felt like, except for that one fight where he gets low, then just Stone of Gaia's himself all the way up to full HP. Where do you attack NRG? Good luck if you're SK right now.
And don't forget that strong start that NRG had to this roster. We've been seeing a lot of different, or not to this roster, but to this game, we've been seeing a lot of different starts happening in this Season 5 where the meta hasn't clearly been defined yet. And the way they started that out by having the ADC and the mid laner work together in the mid lane got them so far ahead early. But we want to ask, who do you all think was the MVP for that game? To me, there's 5 good candidates, so I would not want to have your job right now, chat.
That's a tough one, but again, I think I would probably vote for emilZy, but I just think supports aren't getting enough love in these MVP votes, man.
That's right.
Supports do so much at a competitive level. Just because they're feeding in your casual games doesn't mean that they're doing the same thing here in competitive.
It's them the ones that are having to play support, because they're always bottom elo aggro.
Yeah, you're right.
You're making fun of Mixer chat now.
Yeah, they deserve it. Get good. I'm the savage guy. Hindu's not here.
Whoa, that's Hindu man's thing. That's how everybody knows Hindu.
I know, that's kind of his bit, but he isn't here and people like that, so I'm just trying to fill that role.
Make sure that we still have plenty of savageness. Well, we want to make sure that we get that game broken down for you, everybody here at this one. So let's go ahead and get it over to the desk so they can take us through game one.
Thank you so much, guys. Laughing as Aggro tries to take Hindu Man's thing. Nobody can be as savage as him.
No, that's just his bit. Like, even Aggro said it. No one can be Hindu Man. Not even Hindu Man can be Hindu Man. Season 5 Hindu Man can be Hindu Man.
It's what he's known for. He's just that savage.
No one else can be Hindu Man.
That win for NRG was certainly just as savage. 5 players take the field. 5 players dominate the entirety of what the opposition could handle. SK Gaming just looked like a simply lesser team than NRG. They come in and Aggro broke it down fantastically. You had maniaKK never taking damage. The Camazotz out of Adapting was fantastic, but really it was the small things that emilZy did that I really particularly cared for. But at the end of the day, all 5 of the players came through and brought the win home.
You were talking about emilZy. It's such an interesting upgrade belt of Frenzy there just to get the extra damage online. And these magical damage dealers have been so prominent here in Season 5, and I'm expecting that to keep flowing as Season 5 progresses. And, you know, just body blocking some of the minions was a great way to touch up on emilitoo start to get him through the early laning phase safely. Nuwa struggles a little bit early, especially in the dual lane. emilZy knows how to get his hunter ahead, does it perfectly. NRG's team fight in the mid to late game was just so clutch.
If emilZy's the caboose of the train, the conductor and the steam engine is adapting in the jungle, keeping everything together. 7-1-10 on the young bat here. Fantastic control of the game coming out from the jungler, and Adapting pretty much from the beginning was just a wrecking ball.
There was a lot on his shoulders this game, considering that there was no physical hunter to lean on in this composition. So if Adapting goes behind this game, there's not that much physical damage with maniaKK building tanky on the Bellona. Great momentum from Adapting. I think he only had one death in the entire game.
Sure. Yeah, just really, really strong stuff. Camazotz has been a go-to pick for a number of junglers and a number of solo laners, but adapting has taken it away from maniaKK. The ability just to be here and bring out that crazy high damage and the sustain, adapting can't say no.
You can't really.